At midnight, Zara Quill's phone lit up with a cryptic text. "Your boss is hiding a secret. Check his office. Tonight." Pulse racing, the 28-year-old paralegal stood frozen in her Boise loft. Was this a trap, or the key to exposing the injustice threatening her future? With a major case looming, Zara faced a choice: ignore the warning or risk it all to uncover the truth. There is one detail that only the attentive notice. Did you notice? Subscribe. It will help us make content that you will watch. Zara Quill thrived on the edge of ambition and grit, but nothing could have braced her for the night that turned her world upside down. At 28, she was a paralegal at Holt and Vellum, a powerhouse law firm in Boise, Idaho, a city where urban hustle met rugged charm. Her days were packed with legal briefs and tight deadlines, fueled by black coffee and the thrill of high-stakes cases. But in her cozy loft overlooking the Boise River as her laptop cast a dim glow, a single text message stopped her cold. "Your boss is hiding a secret. Check his office. Tonight." The anonymous text, from a blocked number, sent a shiver through her. Her boss, Gideon Holt, was a legal legend at 45, polished, cunning, and feared. He ran Holt and Vellum with a velvet-gloved fist, his charm hiding whispers of ethical shortcuts. Zara's instincts screamed to ignore the message, but doubt crept in. Was Gideon hiding something, or was this a ploy to sabotage her rising career? The next morning, Zara stepped into the firm's sleek office, its windows framing Boise's downtown skyline and distant foothills. She was tasked with a massive case defending VitaSynth, a pharmaceutical giant accused of marketing a risky drug, CardioVive, tied to heart failures. The plaintiff, a whistleblower's estate, alleged VitaSynth suppressed evidence of the drug's dangers. Zara's job was to sort discovery documents, but as she dug through files, she spotted oddities: missing test results, blacked-out emails, and cryptic memos. Her stomach tightened. Over lunch at a quirky Boise bistro, Zara shared her unease with Lena Voss, a 30-year-old paralegal known for sniffing out scandals. Amid the clatter of plates, Lena leaned close, her voice hushed. "Gideon's fixated on this case. Rumor is he's cozy with VitaSynth's CEO. Watch your back, Zara. He's crushed anyone who digs too deep." Zara's pulse quickened. Lena's words mirrored the text, but she needed hard evidence. Back at the office, Zara's boyfriend, Theo Varn, a 29-year-old junior associate, waved off her worries. "Gideon's tough, but he's clean. You're stressing over nothing, Zar." Theo's easy grin and law school swagger masked his blind spot for Gideon's flaws. As Gideon's rising star, Theo dreamed of partnership, and Zara loved his drive but loathed his trust in the firm. Their bond, once unshakable, felt fragile under her growing suspicions. That night, Zara lingered at the office, the building silent save for the hum of air conditioning. Gideon's office, with its walnut desk and view of the Boise skyline, was a no-go zone, but the text's urgency drove her forward. Pulse hammering, she slipped inside, using a key she'd seen a custodian leave in a drawer. Searching his desk, she found a locked folder marked VitaSynth Restricted. With a hairpin and a shaky breath, she jimmied it open. Inside, a memo chilled her. "Whistleblowers crash. Manage quietly. CardioVive data stays buried." Zara's breath hitched. The whistleblower, Dr. Nora Klein, had died in a car accident before the lawsuit, deemed accidental. Was it orchestrated? Before she could think, footsteps echoed outside. She crammed the memo back, relocked the folder, and dove behind a leather chair. The door swung open. Gideon's voice, clipped and urgent, sliced through the dark as he spoke on the phone. "No mistakes. Got it? If this gets out, we're finished." He hung up and left, unaware of Zara's presence. Shaking, Zara escaped, the memo's words seared into her mind. She was in deep, But retreat wasn't an option. The truth was bigger than her job. It was about righting a wrong. As she stepped into Boise's crisp night air, her phone buzzed again. Another anonymous text. "You saw it." "Don't stop. They're watching." Zara Quint's world felt like it was unraveling, each thread of doubt pulling her deeper into a maze of secrets. The memo she'd found in Gideon Holt's office, its cryptic reference to a whistleblower's managed crash and buried CardioVive data, haunted her. At 28, Zara was no stranger to pressure at Holt and Vellum, Boise's top law firm, but this was different. The anonymous text had cracked open a truth she couldn't ignore, and now, every step felt like a gamble. By Monday, Boise's spring sun cast long shadows across the firm's glass-fronted office. Zara buried herself in the Vita Synth case, her desk a chaos of highlighted documents and sticky notes. The more she dug, the uglier it got. CardioVive, marketed as a heart health miracle, had side effects Vita Synth knew about. Internal reports hinted at suppressed trials showing heart failure risks. Yet, those reports were absent from the firm's files, replaced with polished summaries painting the drug as safe. Zara's fingers trembled as she cross-referenced dates. Someone had scrubbed the truth. At a coffee shop near Boise's Greenbelt, Zara met Lena Voss again, the only colleague she trusted. Lena, 30 with sharp eyes and a knack for spotting lies, slid into the booth, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been poking around too, Zara. Found an old server folder. Deleted but not wiped. It had emails between Gideon and VitaSynth's CEO promising discretion for a payout. Zara's heart sank. "You kept copies?" Lena nodded, patting her bag. "On a USB, but we're not safe. Gideon's got eyes everywhere." Lena's warning proved true that afternoon. Zara was photocopying case notes when Gideon's shadow loomed over her. At 45, his presence was magnetic, crisp suit, steely gaze, but today, his smile was a blade. "Zara, you're working late a lot. Something on your mind?" His tone was casual, but his eyes bored into her. Zara's throat tightened. "Just being thorough, Mr. Holt." He leaned closer. "Thorough's good, but don't wander where you're not needed. Careers end that way." He walked off, leaving her frozen, the copier's hum deafening. Back home, Zara's loft felt less like a sanctuary. She paced, the Boise River's shimmer outside her window doing little to calm her. Theo Varn, her boyfriend, noticed her tension when he dropped by after work. At 29, Theo was Holt and Vellum's golden boy, his charm and law school smarts earning Gideon's favor. "Zar, you look wrecked. What's going on?" he asked, tossing his blazer on a chair. Zara hesitated, then spilled everything. The memo, Lena's findings, Gideon's threat. Theo's face hardened. "You're chasing ghosts. Gideon's intense, but he's not a criminal. You could tank your job, our future over this." His dismissal stung, widening the crack in their relationship. Zara wanted to fight back, but Theo's loyalty to Gideon was a wall she couldn't breach. She dropped it, but sleep eluded her. At 2 a.m., her phone buzzed with another anonymous text, a grainy photo of her at the copier time-stamped that day with the words, "Back off, or you're next." Her breath caught. Someone was watching, someone close. Was it Gideon, a Vita Synth mole, or worse, someone she trusted? She double-locked her door, her mind racing. The photo's angle suggested it came from inside the office. The walls were closing in. The next day, Zara cornered Lena in the firm's break room, her voice low. "I got another text, a photo of me." "They know I'm digging." Lena's face paled. "Zara, I'm in deeper than I said. I've got recordings, Gideon talking to VitaSynth about cleaning up the whistleblower mess. I was going to hand them over, but..." She trailed off, glancing at the door. "I'm being followed. A black SUV's been outside my place." Zara's stomach churned. "Give me the USB. I'll keep it safe." Lena hesitated, then slipped it into Zara's hand. Don't trust anyone, not even Theo. Lena's words echoed as Zara worked through the afternoon, the USB burning a hole in her pocket. She avoided Gideon's gaze during a team meeting, his updates on the Vita synth case dripping with confidence. But when she returned to her desk, her computer was open to a file she hadn't touched, a dummy document titled Zara's Notes. Someone had been on her system. Panic surged. She texted Lena to meet after work, but Lena didn't reply. By evening, Zara drove to Lena's apartment near Boise State University, only to find her place dark, the door ajar. Inside, papers were strewn across the floor, and Lena's laptop was gone. On the counter, a scribbled note. They know. Zara's knees buckled. Lena was gone, fled or taken. The USB in her pocket felt like a ticking bomb. She raced back to her loft, the city's quiet streets now menacing. Theo called, his voice strained. Zara, Gideon just asked if you're reliable. What's happening? She wanted to tell him, but Lena's warning, not even Theo, stopped her. Nothing, she lied, hanging up. Alone, Zara plugged in the USB. The first file was an audio clip. Gideon's voice, cold and calculated, saying, if the case blows up, we pin it on the paralegal. She's expendable. The room spun. Gideon wasn't just hiding a cover-up. He was setting Zara up to take the fall. Zara Quill's life had become a high-wire act, each step teetering between truth and ruin. The USB from Lena Voss, with Gideon Holt's chilling words, pin it on the paralegal, played on a loop in her mind, a damning promise of betrayal. At 28, Zara was used to the grind at Holt and Vellum, Boise's legal juggernaut, but Lena's disappearance and the anonymous threats had pushed her to the edge. The Boise River's calm flow outside her loft mocked her racing heart. She was alone, and the stakes were climbing. Monday morning, Zara moved through the firm's polished office like a ghost, her eyes scanning for threats. Gideon's plan to frame her as the fall guy for the VitaSynth cover-up meant every move was a risk. She needed more evidence to expose him, but Lena's absence left a void. Desperate, Zara tracked down a former paralegal, Samir Rao, who'd left the firm abruptly a year ago. They met at a quiet Boise park, the spring breeze carrying the scent of blooming sagebrush. Samir, 35 and wary, glanced over his shoulder. Gideon's dirty, Zara. I saw him shred VitaSynth test data myself. When I asked questions, he had my emails hacked and fired me for misconduct. Get out while you can. Samir's story confirmed her fears, but it wasn't enough to take Gideon down. Back at the office, Zara pored over the USB's files, her headphones muffling Gideon's recorded schemes. One clip mentioned a cleaned server, hinting at hidden backups. She needed access, but the firm's IT security was ironclad, and her every keystroke felt watched. Theo Varn, her boyfriend, noticed her distraction at lunch. At 29, Theo's loyalty to Gideon blinded him, his ambition a wedge between them. Zar, you're shutting me out. If you're in trouble, tell me. He pressed, his voice soft but edged. Zara wanted to trust him, but Lena's warning, not even Theo, held her back. I'm fine, she lied, her smile brittle. The firm's annual gala that evening, held at a chic Boise venue overlooking the foothills, was a glittering trap. Gideon, 45, worked the room in a tailored tux, his charisma masking his ruthlessness. Zara, in a borrowed dress, felt exposed as colleagues whispered about her late-night hours. Midway through, Gideon took the stage, his voice booming. Loyalty is our strength, but leaks threaten us all. Someone's been careless. His eyes locked on Zara, and the room turned. He projected an email, forged but damning, showing Zara leaking VitaSynth data to a rival firm. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Zara Quill, we'll address this internally, he said, his tone dripping with pity. Humiliation burned Zara's cheeks. The email was a lie, but it painted her as a traitor. Theo, standing nearby, avoided her gaze, his silence a betrayal. Colleagues she'd trusted turned away, their murmurs cutting deeper than words. Gideon had played his hand perfectly, isolating her. She fled to the restroom, splashing water on her face, her reflection a stranger's. She was losing everything, her job, her reputation, Theo. But the USB in her purse was her lifeline. She had to fight back. Back at her desk the next day, Zara worked under Gideon's watchful eye, her every move scrutinized. Theo cornered her in the break room, his face torn. "Zara, that email, did you leak anything?" His doubt gutted her. "You believe Gideon over me?" she snapped. Theo hesitated, then walked away, leaving her hollow. Alone, Zara searched her desk for anything Lena might have left. Under a stack of files, she found a hidden envelope with a sticky note. "Check the bottom drawer." Inside the drawer, taped beneath, was a second USB labeled Backup. Zara's pulse surged. Lena had planned for this. At home, Zara plugged in the new USB, her loft's dim light casting shadows. The files were gold, recordings of Gideon bribing a VitaSynth exec, emails detailing forged lab results, and a memo outlining how to neutralize Dr. Nora Klein, the whistleblower, before her accident. But the final file was a gut punch. Gideon's voice, calm and cold, saying, "If the case implodes, Zara takes the blame. Plant the email. Make it stick. She's nobody." The setup wasn't just a backup plan. It was personal. Gideon had chosen her as the scapegoat from the start, exploiting her low rank and ambition. Zara's hands shook. She needed an ally, but Theo's doubt and Lena's absence left her exposed. The anonymous texter hadn't resurfaced, and Samir had gone silent. Boise's quiet streets, once comforting, now felt like a cage. Her phone buzzed, not a text, but a notification. Her car's dash cam had recorded movement outside her loft. She played the footage, her breath catching. A figure in a hoodie lingered near her car, their face obscured, holding what looked like a knife. The timestamp was an hour ago. Fear clawed at her. Gideon's reach was tightening, and she was running out of time. Zara Quill was cornered, but surrender wasn't in her blood. The dash cam footage of a hooded figure near her car, knife glinting under Boise's streetlights, had turned her loft into a fortress of fear. At 28, Zara had faced long odds at Holt and Vellum, but Gideon Holt's scheme, to frame her for the VitaSynth cover-up while burying the truth about CardioVive's deadly risks, pushed her to a breaking point. Lena Voss's USB, with its damning recordings of Gideon's bribes and plans to scapegoat Zara, was her only weapon. She had to act, and fast. Zara needed an ally outside the firm's reach. Through a contact from Samir Rao, she connected with Nora Blake, a 40-year-old investigative journalist with a reputation for exposing corporate fraud. They met at a dive bar on Boise's outskirts, the jukebox drowning out their words. Nora, sharp-eyed and skeptical, listened as Zara recounted the memo, Lena's disappearance, and the USB's evidence. "This is big, Zara," Nora said, scribbling notes. "CardioVive killed people, and Gideon's banking on your silence. I'll dig, but we need more. Something human, like the whistleblower's story." Zara nodded, her resolve hardening. "I'll get it." Nora's advice led Zara to Dr. Nora Klein's family in a quiet Boise suburb. Klein, the whistleblower whose accidental car crash sparked the VitaSynth lawsuit, had a sister, Elena, 38, who welcomed Zara warily. Over tea, Elena's voice cracked as she shared the toll of CardioVive. "Our mother took it for her heart. She died of a heart attack 6 months later. Nora found VitaSynth's hidden trials and tried to go public. Then she was gone." Elena handed Zara a folder, Klein's notes, detailing suppressed data linking CardioVive to hundreds of deaths. Zara's chest tightened. This was the human cost Gideon was hiding, but Gideon's grip tightened. The next morning, Zara found her car's tires slashed outside her loft, a note tucked under the wiper. "Stop, or you'll regret it." At work, colleagues shunned her, the forged email from the gala branding her a traitor. Gideon's gaze followed her, his smile predatory. Theo Varn, her boyfriend, was distant, torn between Gideon's promises and Zara's pleas. At 29, Theo's ambition had blinded him, but cracks were showing. Over coffee, he grabbed her hand. "Zara, I checked the server logs. Someone planted that email from your account. I believe you." Relief flooded her, but trust was fragile. Theo's change of heart was a lifeline. Late that night, he snuck Zara into the firm's server room, using his access as a junior associate. "If there's a backup of VitaSynth's real data, it's here," he whispered, bypassing the firewall. Zara's fingers flew, pulling up deleted files, raw trial results showing CardioVive's risks, buried by Gideon's orders. She copied them to a drive, her heart pounding. But as they logged out, security guards burst in, their radios crackling. "Holt's orders! Confiscate everything!" one barked, snatching the drive. Theo tried to argue, but a guard shoved him back. Zara's evidence was gone. As the guards escorted them out, Zara's mind raced. The USB was safe at home, but without the server data, her case was thin. Worse, the guards' loyalty to Gideon suggested deeper corruption. Back at her loft, Zara found a new anonymous text. "They have the drive. Check your mail." Her mailbox held a small package. No sender, just a burner phone with a single voicemail. Lena's voice, strained but alive. "Zara, I'm safe, but they're after me. The USB has backups. Use them. Nora knows how." Zara's hope flickered. Lena was alive and the fight wasn't over. Zara met Nora at a Boise library, passing her the USB and Klein's notes. Nora's eyes lit up. "This is enough for a story, but we need to go public fast, before Gideon buries you." They worked through the night, drafting an expose linking Gideon's fraud to CardioVive's victims. But danger loomed. Zara's phone pinged with a photo of her and Nora at the library, sent from the anonymous number. Last warning. Her tires, the guards, now this. Gideon's network was closing in. Theo, now fully on her side, insisted on staying with her. "I was wrong, Zar. We'll finish this together." The next day, Zara faced Gideon at the office, his smugness unshaken. "Zara, you're on thin ice. Resign quietly or I'll ruin you," he said, tossing her a termination letter. She stared him down, the USB's weight in her pocket, a silent promise. "You're the one who's finished, Gideon." His eyes narrowed, but she walked out, head high. Outside, Nora called, "The article's ready. It drops tomorrow." Zara exhaled, the Boise skyline sharp against the dawn. The truth was coming, but Gideon wouldn't go quietly. Then a twist. The burner phone rang. It was Lena whispering, "Zara, I'm in hiding. Gideon's got a fixer, a guy who staged Klein's crash. He's coming for you." Zara's blood ran cold. The fight for justice had just turned deadly. Zara Quill's heart pounded like a war drum, Lena Voss's warning echoing in her ears. Gideon Holt's fixer, the man who staged Dr. Nora Klein's deadly crash, was coming for her. At 28, Zara had faced intimidation at Holt and Vellum, slashed tires, forged emails, surveillance. But this was a new level of fear. Boise's quiet streets, once a haven, now hid predators. Yet, with Lena's USB of Gideon's crimes and Nora Blake's expose ready to drop, Zara was closer than ever to exposing the VitaSynth cover-up. She wouldn't back down. Holed up in her loft, Zara and Theo Varn, her boyfriend, strategized. At 29, Theo had shed his blind loyalty to Gideon, his guilt over doubting Zara fueling his resolve. "We need protection," he urged, checking the locks. Zara nodded, dialing Nora. The journalist, 40 and steely, had contacts at the Boise PD. "I've tipped off a detective," Nora said. "Stay put. The article hits online at midnight." Zara clutched the burner phone, Lena's lifeline, praying it would ring with news of her safety. But Gideon struck first. At 11 p.m., Zara's dashcam alerted her to motion outside. A man in a dark jacket lingered near her car, his movements deliberate. Theo peered through the blinds, his voice tense. "That's no random thief." Zara's pulse spiked, but she refused to panic. She texted Nora the footage, who relayed it to the police. Minutes later, sirens wailed, and the figure fled. The close call shook Zara, but it bought her time. At midnight, Nora's article went live. A bombshell titled, "Boise Law Firm Hides Deadly Drug Scandal." It detailed Gideon's bribes, forged VitaSynth data, and Klein's suspicious death, backed by Lena's recordings and Klein's notes. The fallout was swift. By morning, Boise's social media buzzed, and national outlets picked up the story. VitaSynth's stock plummeted, and Holt and Vellum's phones rang off the hook. Zara, barred from the firm, watched from her loft as protesters gathered outside Gideon's office, demanding accountability. But Gideon wasn't done. He called Zara, his voice icy. "You think you've won? I'll bury you in court." She hung up, her hands steady. The USB's backups, safely with Nora, were her shield. The police moved fast. Nora's detective contact, Sergeant Elena Cruz, 42, met Zara and Theo at a Boise diner. "We've got a warrant for Holt's office," Cruz said. "Your evidence triggered a federal probe into VitaSynth and Holt and Vellum, but we need you to testify." Zara agreed, though fear gnawed at her. The fixer was still out there. That afternoon, Theo dug through firm emails from a hacked junior associate's account, finding a name, Victor Reese, a private contractor linked to Klein's crash. Theo forwarded it to Cruz, tightening the net. The trial came weeks later, a media circus in Boise's federal courthouse. Zara took the stand, her voice clear as she recounted Gideon's scheme, how he buried CardioVive's deadly risks, framed her, and silenced Klein. She played Lena's recordings, Gideon's voice admitting to bribery and fraud chilling the room. Theo, risking his career, testified too, presenting server logs proving the forged email came from Gideon's IP. Gideon, 45, sat stone-faced, his charm useless against the evidence. His defense crumbled when Cruz revealed Reese's arrest. Caught after tailing Zara, he'd confessed to staging Klein's crash on Gideon's orders. The twist came mid-trial. Lena Voss, presumed gone, walked into court, her face gaunt but defiant. She'd been hiding in a safe house, guarded by Nora's contacts, waiting for the right moment. Lena testified, detailing how she'd copied Gideon's files before fleeing, fearing for her life. Her return galvanized the case, her USB backups corroborating every claim. The courtroom buzzed as Gideon's allies, including VitaSynth's CEO, were named in a wider indictment. Zara's eyes met Lena's, a silent thank you passing between them. The verdict was a landslide. Gideon was convicted of fraud, conspiracy, and accessory to manslaughter, facing 12 years. VitaSynth's CEO and 2 execs were indicted, and Holt and Vellum collapsed under lawsuits. Reese got 7 years for his role in Klein's death. The judge praised Zara's courage, her testimony sparking reforms in drug oversight. Outside, Boise's autumn sun warmed Zara's face as she and Theo left the courthouse, hand in hand. Elena Klein's sister hugged her, tears in her eyes. Nora would be proud. Zara and Theo relocated to Bend, Oregon, a quirky town of rivers and mountains, seeking a fresh start. Zara launched a non-profit for whistleblowers, mentoring those silenced by power. Theo joined a small legal aid firm, trading corporate glory for purpose. Lena, free from hiding, partnered with Zara, her tech skills amplifying their mission. Nora's article won awards, and she visited Bend, toasting their victory over craft beer. "You didn't just win," Nora said. "You changed the game." One evening, Zara stood on her Bend porch, the Deschutes River glinting below. Theo wrapped an arm around her. "We made it, Zar." She smiled, the weight of Boise's battles lifting. The anonymous texter, likely Lena, guarding her from afar, never resurfaced, but their warnings had saved her. Justice wasn't just a verdict, it was a new beginning, built on truth.